What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another Impact Wrestling review. And I took last week off because I got banned on Twitter for a week for asking Josh Alexander to kill TJP, and I stand by it. But I'm back. TJP fears me. But we're back with another Impact review. I will have an AEW review out tomorrow, and Saturday is another How Good, which I'm recording tonight, and I'm very excited to get that done. But with all that admin out the way, let's just crack on with what happened on Impact. And the show opened with Dana versus Jake something in a tables match, and oh my goodness, it was amazing. The match was just as violent and intense as you would expect, but every time Jake something was able to chain some moves together, Dana would cut him off with a bit of thinking. Essentially, he would throw him into the side of the table with, like, at one point he had a drop toe hold and he went face first into the side of the table, and he slingshotted Jake up and into it from underneath it. There was some time on the outside where he was just using the table like a weapon to wear him down and not essentially put him through it. Eventually brawled to there was a table set up next to the ring at the bottom of the ramp. They brawled up the ramp. Low blow from Dana to Jake something, who crawled down at the bottom of the ring. And as he ran at him, he picked him up and just spun around with a black hole slam and put Dana through the table. Jake something picked up the win. The black hole slam, by the way, was a stalling black hole slam. He picked him up, spun him around, kind of held him there for a second, and then just threw that boy through it. And it was awesome. It was a really, really good match. But he couldn't enjoy his win because he was attacked. Not by Violent by Design, but by Moose. Moose came out, fucked him up, speared him through a table, and then sat in the ring, grabbed the mic, and he said, "I'm not leaving. I'm going to throw this show off the rails until I get a world title match with Rich Swann." Scott D'Amore comes out and says, "Look," Jason also tries to get back involved in the game, but the security pull him off. Scott D'Amore says, "Look, Rich is not cleared, but if you so desperately want a world title match, well, why don't I just sanction the TNA title as an official world title now, and you're going to defend it in the main event against Jake something." We then had the 6-man X Division tag match where the winning team goes on a triple threat next week. Willie Mack, Trey Miguel and Josh Alexander versus Black Taurus, Ace Austin and Chris Bay. And this match was great. Everyone just, did all their big moves. It was really, really good. The finish came when, I must say actually, like I say, everyone looked good, but Trey and Ace Austin had an amazing back and forth. But Black Taurus looked awesome. Alexander looked awesome. Chris Bay obviously looked great. He's my favourite wrestler. And Josh Alexander as well. The finish came when Willie Mack went for a frog splash off the top rope. Chris Bay rolled out the way, hit him with a shotgun drop kick, and as he fell back, he was hit with like a Kamangiri from Ace Austin, who was on the apron. He stepped up, hit him with a kick to the back of the head, and then he just got hit with a big old art finesse. And the heel team won, which means the triple threat next week will be Ace Austin, Chris Bay, and Black Taurus, which I think Black Taurus might win. After that, we go backstage, and Sami Callihan's there, just annoying Trey Miguel. So he jumps him and gets pulled off him. And then we also got a Decay promo, pretty much just Rosemary and Crazy Steve saying that Black Taurus is going to become the X Division champion. It was all weird and dark and twisted, and it was a Decay promo, so that's what you get. We then had the All Elite Wrestling paid ad, and Tony Khan was there with Tony Schiavone. The opening line was amazing. They were all, just because Broadway might be closed right now, but you're watching the Tonys, which was spectacular. But they were joined with a whole host of AEW wrestlers behind them. All heels in AEW, all heels with matches tonight now. Which is odd when you look at it from an AEW standpoint, because Schiavone's a face commentator, but they were joined by a bunch of heels around them. The heels in question were Rebel, Britt Baker, Ricky Starks, Brian Cage, Ryan Nemeth, Isaiah Cassidy, and Matt Hardy. And they sort of go around and get everyone they talk about the matches that are happening tonight. The first person they go to is Britt Baker, who sort of grabs the mic from Tony Schiavone and cuts him off and says, "Tomorrow night I'm going to make Nyla Rose less relevant than Impact Wrestling, if you can believe it." And then Tony goes, "Yep, Britt and Nyla Rose wrestling in the Eliminator Tournament. Who's next?" He turns around and it's Team Taz, Starks and Cage. He goes, "You guys are wrestling the Hollywood Blondes tomorrow, or the Varsity Blondes tomorrow." And then they sort of mention the wrestling then, but then just bury Impact, the both of them. Then he turned around to Ryan Nemeth, who's wrestling Jon Moxley, and he just goes on a promo about how, as an actor, specifically said like that, as an actor, he will embrace this role and everyone will respect him so much more when he beats Jon Moxley. And he turned around to Cassidy and Matt Hardy. Cassidy is wrestling Hangman Page, and they just cut a promo on Hangman Page. And then Tony runs down other stuff that are happening. Oh, pardon me. on the show. It was fun. It was one of my favourite paid ads yet. Definitely one of the best. Tony Khan was still wearing his heart-shaped sunglasses. It was fun. I loved it. We then got maybe one of my favourite moments of the night. So Havoc and Neville were backstage talking about the sort of tension between them, and Havoc was like, I know we lost a Hard to Kill and lost it, No Surrender, and you didn't pick up the win last week, but it doesn't mean we need to break up as a team. And Neville goes, look, I just need, just leave me alone for a bit, I just need some time. So Neville walks off. And then Caleb and Tenille walk through the door and are like, listen, we promised we weren't eavesdropping. We just, we happened to be there and we heard everything, but listen, if you come team up with us, we've got entrance music, we could get you matching gear made up, and think about this, the way you spell Havoc, it's usually spelled HAVOC, but you spell Havoc and then Caleb goes with a K, and I lost it. Oh, Caleb is the best. Caleb and Tenille are my favourite thing on Impact right now. It sucks that they're picking up a lot of L's, but they're great. Triple XL wrestled the Good Brothers in a good fun TV tag match. Good Brothers picked up the win in a sort of fairly standard affair, except the only difference is they were playing the babyfaces in this match, which is, a bit odd to see from them, especially recently. But it was a good match. Everyone looked really good. And yeah, Good Brothers picked up the win. We then go to Swingers Palace. We're all in Swingers Palace. Storm, we got Sabin, we got Bravo dealing. Alicia is also playing blackjack with Storm and Sabin. And Johnny Swingers just sat over counting his money. So they're all there. And I think Sabin is he's on 19. And he's like, nah, I'm going to stand. And he's like, Sabin, stand. Oh, we could win some money here if he goes bust. Pointing at Bravo, who's a dealer. And then Rohit comes in and just joins in the middle of the game. And then gets Bravo to hit him a few times. Then he stands. Bravo pulls out a card. Bravo gets 21. He wins. House wins. Everyone loses money because of Rohit. And James Storm squares up to him and Sabin's like, no, we're not getting kicked out of another bar. I love this goddamn bar. Swingers Palace is my favourite place in the world. It was so good. And Johnny Swinger goes, nah, I'm not going to kick you out, I'm not going to bar you, but why don't you guys just have a match next week? Because Storm was pissed off that he didn't win money. Because as well, the first card Rohit would have got, the dealer would have went bust. Forgot to mention that, that's very crucial to the story. And he's pissed off that he didn't win the money. So next week it's not on Impact actually, it's on Before the Impact, the Access TV show that they do before the Impact. Rohit and James Storm will also cover that next week. But yeah, this was just more fun Swingers Palace goodness. We see Finn Juice backstage and the Good Brothers walk in. Carl Anderson does his Razor Ramon walk in. And they just start talking, and then Finn Juice just go, it's proof that you guys are the absolute greatest professional wrestling tag team in the world of professional wrestling, who professionally wrestle whilst hungover all the time. And then David Finlay does the Razor Ramon walkout. It was great. And then Anderson's like, whoa, he goes to start them, and Gallows rolls back. It's not embarrassing, man. Our wives watch this show. And Anderson's, I'm not even hungover today. And Gallows goes, and this was just more dumb, fun, Good Brothers stuff, which I love. Eddie Edwards is set to face Brian Myers. Eddie comes to the ring, Myers comes out, he goes, wait a minute, my manager, or my lawyer, sorry, has something to say. And it's Mark Sterling, who was NJF's lawyer back when he was getting ready to wrestle Moxley. And he's there and he's read his contract and he says, well, this subsection of the contract says that he can bring in an alternate if he's injured. Here's Hernandez. Hernandez comes out, has a good match with Eddie Edwards, but Eddie picks up the win with a Boston knee party off the middle rope. And it was fun. Then go backstage to to Brian Myers, and then he bumps up Matt Cardona. And then Scott D'Amore walks past, like, how'd your match go? Myers still in his leather jacket goes, yep, Lariat 1, 2, 3. And he goes, well, I actually watched the match. He goes, oh, fuck, you did. And he goes, well, here's the thing. Your lawyer, I've noticed he's not very good at reading contracts fully, is he? Nice reference to what happened in AEW. And he goes, well, because the thing here that says if you're not cleared, it says you must be cleared by Impact's resident doctor, not your own physician. And our doctor's cleared you. So next week you're wrestling Eddie Edwards in an eye for an eye match. And he starts freaking out. And he's like, I just want a safe working environment for myself and my colleagues. And he's like, well, you're wrestling Eddie Edwards next week. And then Scott D'Amore walks past and goes, really? Eye for an eye next week? And Scott D'Amore goes, no, that's the fucking worst idea in all professional wrestling. Because what's going to happen? You're going to take Eddie's eye out and then a couple of weeks later he's going to come back with it? Cool, sound. And I was like, you know what, that's petty, but I feel you. I feel that. And yeah, this was also just dumb fun. Kim Kimberly and Susan took on Jordan Grace and Jazz in a number one contenders match for Fire and Flavor's Knockouts tag team titles. And it was just big, dumb, brawl fun. Susan was obviously great. There's a distraction, Deonna gets involved, then ODB comes out. There's a big old scrap between Deonna and ODB and they go to the back. Just everyone looked great. Susan's still the most entertaining thing in the world. And she gets hit with a big fucking huge Grace driver. And Jordan and Jazz are now the number one contenders for the Knockouts tag titles. Which is definitely the right call. Obviously Susan was very entertaining. The match was fun. The Grace driver looked fucking brutal. And after the match they walked through the curtain. And ODB's been laid out by definitely Deonna. So that just adds more fuel to this little feud. Main event time, and this match might be one of my favourite sub 10 minute matches of all time. Genuinely, it was that good. Not as good as obviously Angle and Ray, will forever be the best, but this was up there. So Moose comes out and he's standing in the spotlight and he just gets jumped by Jake something, who just takes it in. He just stands in Moose's spotlight with a black background, just a white light shining down on him. He looked amazing. Then brawled to the ring. More back and forth. The pair of them are just two big bastards. Moose gets hit with a clothesline by Jake something and just like flips through it and kind of accidentally kicks him on the back of the head as he goes the whole way round. It was amazing. Moose then picked up the win. He hit one big fat Uranagi, kept wrist control, picked him up again, hit another one, kept wrist control, got him up, turned him round into the ripcord with the, what's he calls it, the lights out, the ripcord discus clothesline. And then the spear for the win. Yeah. It looked amazing that it took that much to take out Jake, who looked absolutely incredible all night. You know, I don't really see anyone surpassing him as Wrestler of the Week, for me, personally, this week. Because he had two incredible matches in the one night. Then, after the match, Moose just keeps beating him down. Swan runs out, big pull-apart brawl. Scott D'Amore comes out and he goes, well, you want a world title match? No surrender. And I was like, please don't say unified. Please don't say unified. Because there's apparently stories that Swan was going to win both, then drop TNA and Impact title to Kenny, and they just go a summer without a world title. But it's only for the Impact World Championship, which I'm cool with, because realistically, Swan should win this with a roll-up, lose the belt to Kenny, then get murdered by Moose, who is now the legitimate World Heavyweight Champion in Impact, while the Impact title is not there. And that was it for this week's show. Overall, I'd actually give it a 9. I think all the matches were good. Two very, very good matches in the opener and the main event. Jake something looks incredible. They're just continuing to push him. I think the right team won in the X Division. 6-man. There was just lots of fun with the segments. And even the matches that didn't go that long, like Eddie and Hernandez, was still a lot of fun. Yeah, 9 out of 10. So that's it for this week's Impact review. Let me know what you thought of the show in the comments down below. I will definitely be back tomorrow this time with an AEW review. I'm no longer banned on Twitter, so you can see me spouting my nonsense over there. Everything is in the links below. Please do consider subscribing and turn notifications on if you haven't already. I upload at least twice a week, and hopefully more interviews and things like that will be happening soon. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.